Now, I want to think like a project manager here for a second. Before I get into cost management, the key skill that you're going to learn in cost management is these formulas. Earned value management. We're going to do that right now, folks. Okay? And I'm telling you, what we're going to do here is we need a way to be able to measure our project's performance while the project's underway. I've told you before the old management axiom, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we put together a very careful scope and a very careful schedule, and we're now executing our project. How well are we doing as work is being performed, as time is being elapsed? How well are we doing compared to our plan? This is the essence of earned value management. And like I said, over the next several screens, I'm going to show you exactly. I'm going to give you the regular guy version. This is the plain English regular guy version of the earned value management. I hope you appreciate it, because lots of folks get all caught up in this, and it's not as difficult as it is. Like that's why I said I'm going to just talk to you regular guy here. All right. Earned value management is based on 3 variables. So these 3 variables here, once we know what the variables are, we just plug the numbers right into the formulas and they work. Okay. Planned value, PV, earned value, EV, and actual costs, AC. Okay, the relationship between these 3 values tells us where we're at as far as schedule and cost performance, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, we're going to track our project performance. Okay, so let's go back to our classic triple constraint, right? And we set scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. So now, at this moment, okay, and we haven't really set the cost baseline, but let's say for this conversation we did. We set cost baseline here. So now, all 3 sides of the triangle are built, right? And as project managers, folks, if you follow my cursor here, you can see it's our job to manage our project within the triangle, okay? That, remember when we were 5 years old or something in kindergarten, they didn't want us coloring outside the lines. They want us to manage inside of these three sides of the triangle. Now, we're talking about measuring here, okay? We want to be able to measure performance. If we look at the 3 here, scope, as I said, is boss, but scope is kind of different than the other 2 because scope really doesn't lend itself to be measured as much as it does to be controlled. In the case of scope, we're controlling scope, and we do that with a formal change control. So the base of the triangle is steady. We keep that as a stationary target. So that's really what we're trying to do with scope, is to keep it a stationary target. Because if we were to widen the base of that triangle, okay, necessarily the 2 sides, time and cost, would have to grow necessarily proportionally. So that's what I'm saying. The wider the scope, the more scope we would be adding time and costs. So in the case of scope, we want to control scope. So let's take that out of the equation. But cost and schedule, the time and cost, in other words, lend themselves to be measured. They do. Time and cost lend themselves to be measured, particularly as a project's being executed, because every day I'm completing more work every day, and at the same time I'm also accumulating more costs. And I keep piling up the costs, and I keep piling up the work until I get finished. I want to track both across the time period. Okay, this is what's called a performance baseline. And it really, it's what we're doing here is I'm trying to come up with a common unit of measure so that I can measure both time and cost against it, okay, to come up with a way to show a common performance. Here's how I do this. So a common unit of measure is going to be dollars, folks. It makes sense, right? From the cost side of things, costs are what they are. This is where I'm going to find the one of the variables, okay? The actual cost, AC, right here. This is the simplest of the 3 variables to understand, because actual costs are what they are. We see the invoices, we see the timesheets. There's no formula here. We just add up the bills. That's what we do to come up with actual costs. We just add up the bills, just like you do at home. Here's my rent. Here's my car payment. This is what my costs were. Okay, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. Now let's look over on the time side. We're going to quantify time in dollars, and here's how we do this. Time in our world means schedule, folks. In the project management world, means schedule. So when we quantify, we're talking about effort now. So as we complete work through the schedule, we're earning value, okay? This is a picture of my old man, all right? This is a picture of my old man. He's this kind of guy. He will not give you credit for anything until you completed it. So he's not going to give you credit for the work that should have been done today. He's going to give you credit for the work that you did get done today. That is the essence of earned value, folks. Is my old man's theory right there. When I'm measuring earned value, I'm measuring work that's actually been completed, not work that's supposed to have been completed. All right, that's the key here. Now, those two will both plot over time. My earned value continues to go up as I complete more and more work. My earned value gets bigger and bigger until I've eaten up the entire budget of the project. I'm finished. At the same time I'm running a project, I'm running up real costs. So the actual costs, I know what I thought things were going to cost me, but the bills are coming in. So as the project's going on, the bills keep coming in every month. More bills come in until the end of the project, and then I just add them all up. This is what the project really cost us. Is it at the end, the actual costs? I'm going to compare that to my planned value. Remember, so that's the third variable is planned value. So what did I plan in the beginning? I said that my project was going to be 3 months long and it was going to cost, $20,000, right? That was my planned value, and I'm going to measure my actual progress versus what I thought I was going to do. This is where we're supposed to be when we talk about planned value. Let me show you how that works, folks. Okay, so let me show you how it works, all right? Here's our plan across time, from the start of the project to the finish of the project, all right? We're going to put this in a performance baseline that we're going to measure in dollars, and I'm going to show you how that's done, okay? Budget at completion, let's say for our example, for this little example here, we're going to say we have a little project that we're doing, and our budget for this project is $2,000, okay? Well, a little company party or something. So I realize now that as I have $2,000 in my hand, okay, I know that I'm going to spend it in increments, right? I'm going to rent a restaurant, and then I'm going to hire a DJ, and I'm going to bring in some other entertainment, and et cetera, and I might have place settings, and et cetera, et cetera. So I know that of that $2,000 that is in my hand right now, I'm going to start spending it over the course of time. As a project manager, I'm dishing out this money as I'm across the time period, and the end of the project and the end of the budget is supposed to match. Let me show you what I mean. This is the regular guy thing, is what I'm talking about. You think of that $2,000 as a donut, okay? That your budget is a donut, and I use this analogy because your budget gets eaten into as you're progressing through the project. Little bites are going to be taken out of this donut, all right? I'm going to pay for this. I got to pay for that. I got to pay for labor. I got to pay for okay? If you don't mind the sound effects, all right? So let me show you what I mean by that. We'll start right at day one, okay? It's 8:59, so nobody's even clocked in yet. From our project standpoint, we have not started. We're going to start in a minute from now. Everything starts, all right? But right now, we haven't spent a dime yet, so we're at zero, okay? That is the whole donut, okay? There it is, the whole donut. Nobody's bitten into it yet, nothing. We start to go into the project a couple of weeks, okay? And at this point, we spent about $400. This is what we planned we were going to do. At this point, we planned that we were going to at least talk to a DJ, and we hired him for $400 or whatever. But this was by plan. So we expected that we could have a nice bite taken out of it right there. So you see that donut's got a bite out of it, all right? The next time, maybe about the middle of the project, we figured by now we've spent about $1,100 of our. So by now we brought in a caterer. We brought in the DJ. Maybe we rented the restaurant, et cetera, et cetera. So we've spent a little more than half of our budget. That's what our donut looks like now. This is what's left of our budget. It's being eaten away until it's gone. Okay, by plan. We plan on spending it in these increments anyway. We get to this one. We figure we should be about $1,600 into our $2,000 project. That's what our donut looks like now. Okay, so and this is by plan. We expect that on that date we'll only have about $400 left in but we should be right on schedule. And then of course the finish date, we expect that our whole $2,000 is gone. And I showed you little crumbs there. Okay, you probably okay. That's the analogy I'm trying to show you, is that across time your budget is going to be eaten up. And you already planned for that. Every time when we were doing all of our estimates, we were planning on paying labor, paying materials, and we knew when we were going to pay it because we scheduled all those activities. So we know when and how much per plan, okay? But how well did we keep the plan? This is called plan value, folks. Okay, and this is one of the key concepts that a lot of folks don't seem to get. Okay, at any given time, I take a measurement of where my plan says I should be. Like the one in the middle, for example, at 1,100. My plan says I should be $1,100 worth of project completed at that point. That's my plan, and that's my plan value. So that 1,100 is going to be what I would use in my calculations for that day. For that day, my plan value, the PV part of the equation, is 1,100 bucks. Okay, so I'm just saying that this is where you're going to come up with the values for each of these three variables, and then it all works out. Let's take it a little further. Okay, let's assume I want to give you this concept too. Estimate at completion. I just showed you in the last curve thing. Estimate completion. Let's say we blew our budget out, so we'd be more an EAC project than a BAC project. And we're going to talk about that more when we're here in forecast in a couple minutes. Okay, schedule performance. Okay, so now we have our plan and our time that I just showed you. Okay, there again is our snapshots in time, right? From day one to the end of the project. Okay, let me take those out of here for a second. Now let's insert the real world. The plan is the plan. This is the real world happening. That work being completed over time. Okay. This is how it's really going out in the field. How well are we getting done our project, okay, from a completing a task standpoint. Let's say we take our snapshot right there at 1,600. Well, as you can see, we're behind schedule. We didn't make that. We're taking the snapshot. This is this day. We expected $1,600 worth of planned value, but we only earned to here. We've only completed $1,300 worth of work when we should have completed $1,600 worth of work. This guy is what they call the variance between the two, what we earned and what we should have earned. The schedule variance is -$300. That's because the formula for doing schedule variance is earned value minus planned value. So our earned value, $1,300, versus our plan value, where we're supposed to be, is $1,600. We're behind schedule, -$300. Okay, for earned value. You've just seen us do the first of 4 calculations done already. Okay, the one thing I want to tell you about variances: negative variances are bad. Okay, same thing's you'll see them when we do cost in the next screen. A negative variance is bad. For schedule, it means you're behind schedule. For cost, it means you're over budget. Okay, in this case, we're not completing work at the pace that we planned, so we're behind schedule by $300 earned dollars. Okay, then I'll take you into cost performance. Remember, it's a snapshot in time. So today, October 22nd, 2015, here's the work I completed. I'm going to show you this. I'm showing you this vertically because these are accumulating, okay? As we continue to earn value, like my old man says, we're actually completing the work, and we got more done tomorrow, and we're going to get more done the next day. As we're completing it, we're getting credit. We earned the value, okay? But during the same amount of time, this is the cost that we spent, okay? So this snapshot on October 22nd, the left arrow is the work that we completed. The right arrow is the costs. As you can see, we spent more money than we should have. So on the left side, it's earned value, okay? So we've already established $1,300, right, from the last screen. We've completed $1,300 worth of the project, but we spent $1,800 so far. So we're over budget on time as well as behind schedule. The difference is here. The variance, the difference between earned value and actual cost, is cost variance. This is performance. In other words, the bang for my buck. How much work am I get for every dollar that I spend? How much I should be getting $1's worth of progress, and I'm not. Okay, the cost variance here is pretty bad. It's -$500, which is bad for a $2,000 project, isn't it? Again, here's your formula. And it's the same formula, or same kind of formula. It's the same idea as schedule variance. Cost variance equals earned value minus actual costs. So here we are doing the second of the four and they're nice and simple, aren't they? So cost variance in this case here is 1,300 minus 1,800. Our cost variance is negative 500. And again, what did I say about negative variances? Bad, 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 bad. Okay, it's indicative that something's going quite awry. And in a $2,000 project, to have a cost variance that high, this project's in real trouble.